Hello, welcome to another video, and let's talk about some potential Halo games slash projects. So this kind of subject was brought up on Twitter last week, and throughout the weekend. I saw some stuff about it. The idea of what is 343 working on for like the future of Halo, future Halo projects. There was an idea that there was 3 currently unannounced ones in development, Today, I just kind of want to go over, like, just purely hypothetical, absolutely no proof, no concrete anything. It's literally just off the top of my head. Some of the games that, like, and projects that, like, I'm gonna say are purely just, like, brainstorm thrown out into the space kind of thing. Probably what happened when there was, like, the whole ODST Helldivers type game. Just a fucking fart in the wind or something type of idea. But the fact that 343 hasn't really expanded the Halo universe in a lot of ways is a little weird, just because the universe is so vast. There's so much untold stories they could build something off of, that even if they made like little smaller bite-sized type of games that were just campaign-like stories, and if it was like $30 or $40, whatever they decide. But I have a list. I have 9 ideas, and I'm not going to go like full crazy in depth with all 9 of them because I don't want to talk about that for nearly this long. Woo! God, it's so nice using the hammer in this game. But I'm going to say that games or projects, whatever, I'm pretty sure they're all games because, like, let's be honest, most people care about the Halo games. In order of most likely to be like being worked on to least, there's a big gap. I'm pretty sure after like the first 3, that the first 3 I think would be very likely to be being worked on, and then everything else is just kind of a blind idea and hope, I guess. So the first game that I think is the most likely that 343 is working on, that is, you know, the most likely to be coming out kind of thing, it would have to be the next mainline Halo game. I'll just call it Halo 7. I think, like, that's a no-brainer. Halo Infinite has been out for coming up to 3 years this year, which feels crazy, honestly. And I remember when there was a time that... Damn. I remember there was a time when Halo games were coming out, like, within 3 years, and, like, kind of being churned out, but like each one was still so good, you know, in the glory kind of days. But I think that has got to be the number one thing coming after, like, or the number one objective for 343 is working on the next mainline Halo game. I think it's going to be a continuation off of the story of Infinite. Halo Infinite tried to do like a bit of a reset. A lot of the art style was the old type of art style, and they retconned and what felt like scrapped a lot of the story from 5 and... Fuck me. They kind of retconned a lot of 4's, or a lot of Halo 5 story, where they just like... They didn't fully say like, oh, none of that happened. They just skipped way ahead and just didn't show any real resolution for it besides like little snippets, I guess. So I think they aren't really in a great position to do that again, to like try and have a little bit of a reset with the next Halo game, especially when it comes to the story. So I think the next Halo game will be a continuation. I'm sure, I wouldn't be surprised if it was called Halo the Endless or whatever it was. It'd be really weird to kind of introduce a brand new species that's like a new enemy that seems like the worst thing, you know, in the fucking universe type of thing. So that's my first one. It's just clean cut next Halo game. It's going to be a continuation of the Halo Infinite story. They're going to build off of this. Multiplayer, I'm not... That's where it gets a little dicey, like... But that's my idea for the first major kind of thing. Next project slash game I would think is on the go is whatever the Takana, whatever. Can't talk. The next thing I think is definitely whatever Project Tanaka, or whatever the word is. I can't even think of it right now. I think whatever was coming out of that is also being worked on. I don't think everything was just like, boop, didn't work out, sorry, it's never going to see the light of day. I feel like maybe they shifted a bit. Is it going to be a BR still? I don't know, because that was what was rumored. Is it a extraction shooter? Did they kind of go that way? I don't know. that's kind of like the idea right now, is whatever that project was would be like in that kind of sphere. So that's the other thing that I think is one of the other that I think is really likely to still be being worked on, which is exciting. Something new for sure, rather than just like the typical multiplayer. I think if they do something like that, they should separate it from mainline Halo game, just so that the main fans, if they don't like it, they don't want it, they don't have to deal with it. They have their main game, and I think the main game should always be like the core mindset for Halo. Like the campaign is so, fleshed out and everything like that, that it's not like a Call of Duty where Warzone just kind of takes over. Everything gets worked on for Warzone. I don't think or want that to happen with Halo, but I think whatever that project was is likely to be being worked on as well. The third project / game that I think is being worked on and is also in like my kind of most likely category. I think these three are the most likely, and that would be Halo Wars 3. I would be very surprised if they weren't working on this. I don't know anything with the Halo Wars games because I never played them. So I'm not sure how much updates and everything with Halo Wars, like if it's still going on or anything like that. Because if Halo Wars 2 is like, fully being updated often, all this kind of stuff, that it would make sense for them not to make a Halo Wars 3. If it was being... I would imagine they are working on another one. It would make sense for time-wise, because my thought would be, like, if they were, and it was been worked on, it would be announced probably this year to then be coming out in 2025. And if Halo Wars 3 came out in 2025... it would be the same distance from Halo Wars 2 that Halo Wars 2 was from Halo Wars 1. Which sounds crazy, which feels crazy to me. Part of that for me is that like I wasn't really in the Halo sphere, in the Halo world. So Halo Wars 2, it just in my head seems like it came out so much more recent. So that's the first three that I think are the most likely that are being worked on right now. The next bit of games I think are much more long shot kind of games, ideas, and stuff that I think would work, but just stuff I don't think that they're like as interested in working on or working on at all. And the first one would be just a smaller type of story content game, just a smaller story that might try and tie in all the side characters, or just kind of forgotten, or just completely not in Halo Infinite. I don't think a lot of people will love to hear that, just because like those aren't the characters that people love. A lot of the characters people are annoyed with because of Halo 5 and stuff like that. They couldn't really care less if they didn't see them. I think just for a smaller kind of story bit, I don't think it'd be the worst idea to have like an ODST style of game. Not like, obviously not ODSTs, I just mean the structure. Just something that gives people the kind of closure or just idea of what was going on with them. Kind of flesh that out a bit, tie the little bit of loose end between 5 and Infinite. That's not like that's not something that I'm really craving for. Would I be surprised if they made a game like that? No, that's why I kind of have it here on my list. But the next game is another smaller bite-sized just campaign game that I think would be very interesting. And this is coming from the idea that I just read The Fall of Reach, which was a very interesting book. And that small story would be Master Chief's kind of like origin story. Watching the Halo show, it does not feel the best. It feels like a lot of missed opportunities and stuff. And I think part of that includes Master Chief as like a person. I know it's a weird thing with like showing his face. It would be tough to do that in a game, but like I think the idea of showing Halsey and Keyes going out, taking these kids, having Master Chief as, young little kid, show him training at a young age, learning what it's like to be a Spartan, actually go through the augmentation, stuff like that, and get to the early stage until Reach. Like, I wouldn't want to actually touch on Reach, because I think, because if you base it off the book in the game. A lot of it kind of, you know, they clash. They don't really go together. So I think it'd be interesting to see a game that's well done show off his origin story. It's tough because, like, if they do it bad, like, it'll be bad, right? But I think if they could do it well, it would be so well received to kind of just get that little part of Master Chief's story. I know it's been however long, so it's like a weird time frame to do it, but I think a lot of people would really enjoy a good game that has the origin of when he was a kid, trained and all that stuff, and first started becoming a Spartan. Now, the next 4 ideas / projects are definitely like the more out there ones, I think, that are like the more long shot kind of just fuck it ideas at this point. If I'm being realistic, a lot of them probably wouldn't work. Wouldn't be my job. I'm just saying hypothetical game ideas. First one would be some sort of MMO. Halo's universe is so big and expansive, and it's sci-fi, so it's so broad that it feels crazy that they haven't at least attempted to do this yet. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't just thrown this out there to see how it would work. I'd have absolutely no idea. The time period for it, timeline, all of that would make no sense. So this is the thing that has definitely the most issues with, like, it even coming to fruition in any way. So this one, I don't think this really ever happens. Definitely the most hard to put together. What time period would it be? Like ancient time, because it can't clash with like the actual human covenant war, because so much of that's already like happened, you know, like in the games. Like if you're having an MMO during the the main trilogy saga, like what the hell would you be doing while Master Chief is by himself saving the world, you know, stuff like that. Now, something that I honestly think is probably way more likely than an MMO or even a lot of the smaller story kind of games. I was thinking, damn, nice shot. Though I don't think people would necessarily be as happy as it sounds, or I don't think it's I don't think it's needed. And that would be a Halo 3 remaster or just remake kind of thing. That game is just, to me, it's the best Halo game. I know not everyone thinks that. Everyone has like their own favorite Halo game. I started Halo at like a little later. Halo 3 was my first Halo, so that's honestly why it's my favorite Halo. So the last 2 are just very, very whatever kind of ideas that I would be immensely shocked if they actually had a game like this. First one would be a game that is just set in the ancient human civilization time, from the primordial timeline, time frame kind of thing. How it would work, I don't know. That kind of ties in with the MMO in some way. Do I think that's how it works? Probably not, but that is purely just to potentially see a game in that time frame. And the last one that I don't think really has any chance of ever happening, it's seems very not Halo, but it's just a fun idea and a screw it idea, and it would be some game fully based on the Flood, some sort of survival-y or just horror in general game with the Flood. I don't know if it would be like an ODST all by himself or something like that. Just something where there is a clear power discrepancy, where you are definitely underpowered and you have a bunch of Flood and everything coming for you. That I think could work in the horror kind of idea of it, just because like the Flood is basically a horror thing, you know. They're borderline just zombies. But those are like the 9 ideas, just overall ideas that I kind of just thought about quickly when I had thought, yeah, that, you know, that has some likeliness behind it. Like, it's not fully batshit crazy. I do definitely think the first 3, the Halo mainline game, the whatever the Project Tanaka turns into, and then just Halo Wars 3. I think those are the 3 most likely to be actually worked on right now. And then the next little bit where it's more like the smaller side story, campaign-y kind of games, those are just ones that I think would be really, really cool to see. Like the Master Chief Origin kind of thing. I think it could be so good if they pulled it off. And I have a weird kind of fear that the Halo 3 remaster kind of thing is more likely than I initially thought and like think about right now. It's like, yeah, man, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. But yeah, that's just like a good little chunk of games and just broad ideas for Halo potential future games or just projects or whatever they want to make out of it. I think it'd be interesting, but be sure to leave a comment on what you think is being worked on, some ideas that would be, you know, fun to see that you've just realistically never really seen in games. It'd be cool to see games incorporate a lot of the stories that just haven't been told yet. I would love the Master Chief Origin if it was good. I don't know if they could pull it off, though. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Consider leaving a like if you did. Consider subscribing. Helps channel out a bunch. I'll be back on Wednesday. The new season, the new operation drops tomorrow, so I'll definitely have a video Wednesday playing it. First thoughts, kind of stuff like that. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Peace out.